As much as any other principle, it is what distinguishes our system of government from monarchy or tyranny. Today at the United States Capitol, I will perform my constitutional duty as Vice President of the United States to certify the results of the 2024 election.
Harris business, I think before we canonize St. Kamala here on the high holy day of January 6th, let's remember the Electoral Count Reform Act of 2022 makes it perfectly clear that the vice president has nothing but purely ministerial duties on this day. She didn't actually certify the results of the election. That's done by the voters and the people of the
It was clear as day 4 years ago as well.
Right.
But because of the
I mean, that's the thing. I mean, nobody's trying to canonize her. The same thing was true for
they're
Hillary.
not? I mean, she put out a video trying to canonize herself.
She was actually just saying it's unremarkable. That's true.
That's the opposite of canonizing.
I want to actually congratulate the Democrats today. This is the first election since 1980.
He's doing this again.
This is the first election since 1988 that a Republican won, and Democrats did not try to overturn the results on the floor of the Congress. So congratulations, Democrats.
I'm only interrupting you because we've heard this before.
The votes for President of the United States are as follows. Donald J. Trump of the state of Florida has received 312 votes. Kamala D. Harris
What's up, guys? Kamala Harris made history. She became the first woman of color to certify her own laws. Another glass ceiling shattered today. Okay, with all jokes aside, as you saw from the intro, Kamala Harris, it was not a good day for Kamala Harris. I was watching it live from work as I was working. I had it in my headphones as I do my work. And I heard the minute she announced that Donald Trump won with 312 electoral votes, the House went crazy. At least the Republicans did. And I noticed that everyone seemed to be gleeful at the occasion. You see Mike Johnson having a little smile on the side. And I was like, damn, I would not want to be Kamala Harris right now. Right. And this is the moment I'm talking about. Give me a sec to share it with you. This is the moment I'm talking about. You see Mike Johnson. He know what's coming. He ready to smile. I don't know. I feel kind of bad for her at this point, but not really. But this is gonna be her. I'm trying to. Sorry if I have this weird pause. I'm just trying to find the article. So you love to see it. A totally defeated Kamala Harris is hating life as she speaks to reporters after certifying Trump's victory. And as you saw in the intro, you saw people, trying to downplay the moment. Minute Scott Jennings bring up some inconvenient facts about how Democrats contested every election on the House floor since 1988, allegedly. I have to do my research on that, but I trust Scott Jennings more than I doubt him. So we got that going on. So this is, the video. Here's her. I can't speak today. Here is her speaking to reporters, and we'll watch it together, and then I'll give you some thoughts about the special day, because this might be the best January 6th ever. I mean, honestly, it might just be, right? But let's take a look.
Well, today was obviously a very important day, and it was about what should be the norm and what the American people should be able to take for granted, which is that one of the most important pillars of our democracy is that there will be a peaceful transfer of power. And today I did what I have done my entire career, which is take seriously the oath that I have taken many times to support and defend the Constitution of the United States.
Now, that's just the Second Amendment, but I digress, guys. I digress.
Which included today performing my constitutional duties to ensure that the people of America, the voters of America, will have their votes counted, that those votes matter, and that they will determine then the outcome of an election. I do believe very strongly that America's democracy is only as strong as our willingness to fight for it. Every single person, their willingness to fight for.
I'm done. The funny part about this video is that they're saying all these platitudes like as if the American people saw it that way. The American people didn't see it this way, and this is why y'all lost, right? And I want to show you a couple clips, right? It's going to be a montage of clips. It should be just a minute and 30 minutes, right? We made history, all right? There you go. First woman to lose her own election and had to certify it. So you're going to have people on The View, Sunny Holston, making a comparison with January 6th and the Holocaust. And I'll show you some examples of how dangerous January 6th was and how crazy Sunny Holston looks about the fact that she's comparing January 6th to World War II, Holocaust, enslavement. Yeah, January 6th wasn't that serious. And I think this kind of talk is what got people, okay, January 6th was a glorified riot that you saw, that the Democrats saw as a political opportunity to paint their oppositions as some dangerous threat to the nation. And this is why I don't want to let it go. Everything about the Democrats is focused on the past instead of the future, while Trump was focusing on the future. We can make America great again. That's a future statement. But they keep bringing us back 4 years back. Keep making it up. And then during January 17, the Democrats like to completely forget about the inauguration protests. Well, police did get hurt. Protests that the left was doing when Trump won initially against Hillary Clinton. They want us to forget about that. But they want to pretend, it's a Republican problem, it's a right-wing problem. Yeah. Okay, bro. So let's check out the clips, and then I'll follow up with my thoughts.
I think we need to find moral clarity, in this country. And I just remember after January 6th, you had someone like Mitch McConnell placing the blame on January 6th where it belonged, squarely on Donald Trump's shoulders. Mm-hmm. And then you started seeing people backtrack that and losing their moral center. You had Condoleezza Rice, I believe, on this very show saying, we need to move on from January 6th. I say no. You don't move on, because January 6th was an atrocity. It was one of the worst moments in American history. And when you think about the worst moments in American history, like World War II, things that happened, like the Holocaust, chattel slavery, we need to never forget, because past becomes prologue if you forget any race.
I saw people going right through. There they are.
And our what
in Statuary Hall. Now that is the area.
Is that the Walt Whitman camera that's capturing those? I believe.
No.
Whitman statue.
I'm not sure whether that's the Walt Whitman camera, but what that is the area where the senators process to go into House for joint sessions. So it is through there that they walk.
Unbelievable.
Yeah,
we are televising the breach.
Listen,
by the way.
in order to get to the Capitol, the Capitol is a free place to go. You are allowed to go to the Capitol. But you got to go through metal detectors. You got to go through security. And when you breach that, you haven't gone through security, and you got to.
That is so important. In light of all the rhetoric and things we're going to hear people say today, is that ultimately it was the American people that got to decide ultimately how we feel collectively as a country about January the 6th. And already today, we have heard some people in other venues say extraordinarily unhinged and vile things, comparing January 6th to the Holocaust, to slavery, to World War II. I think we need to arrange our feelings and control ourselves accordingly here and not go off the deep end. It was not a good day. Political violence cannot be condoned, but we can also be measured in how we view it in light of the rest of American and world history. What's happening today is ultimately a good thing, because both parties, for the first time in my adult life, are accepting the results of an election. And that is ultimately putting this country on the right tracks. I just think people ought to really take stock of our feelings and not get out over our skis too much today and minimizing other world events and comparing them to January the 6th.
Yeah, guys, this is the darkest day in American history. People walking through the Capitol without going through a metal detector. This was an insurrection, guys. Look at it. Look at the violence. Oh, my God. Look at the destruction. Oh, my God. This guy is waving an American flag. You do realize most of the damage was outside, right? Most of the people that went inside the Capitol were peacefully. They peacefully came in. Some said that the Capitol Police let them in. But this is the darkest day in American history. This is what they want Americans to be concerned about. You wanted us to decide an election based on the fact that this happened in the Capitol, where technically they're not technically trespassing because they're allowed to come in. the Capitol because it's the people's house, correct? And look how they covered it initially. 2 p.m. Look at the House convened, states in recession as protesters marched on the Capitol. It was, they didn't name it as an insurrection. No, they took selectively edited clips, right? Put it in our face and said, this happened everywhere. Where there's videos of the police shooting tear gas into them as they're marching like this outside. As they're marching like this outside. And many people believe that agitated the crowd, and the crowd got mad, and they lashed out, and that's how they end up fighting that scene where you see them pushing the cops, and it blew up into something it shouldn't have been. But whatever the excuses is, I agree with what Scott Jennings said. Hey, look, political violence shouldn't be tolerated, right? But it seems like the left want us to tolerate violence when they perpetrate it, but not when the right get even a fraction of what they do. BLM burning down police stations with firebombs, Molotovs, creating autonomous zones with no government authority allowed inside. People were dying because that section of, I believe, Seattle, no government official was allowed in there. No police, no paramedics, no ambulance, nothing. Violence, death, assault, all happening in that area. Left, quiet, because it's them doing it. Republicans marching to the Capitol. Some people caused some problems, just like them. Oh, it's mostly peaceful. I could say the same thing about January 6th. But your guys, your politicians are allowed to bail out your side when you guys do something and mess up. But there's no redemption for the Republicans, no redemptions for conservatives, huh? How convenient, right? But this is the narrative they want you to believe in. Sonny Holston wants you to believe that it was equivalent to slavery, World War II. And people wonder why no one cared about January 6th. Americans have moved on from January 6th because we saw January 6th for what it was, a political hit job. You saw this as an opportunity to paint the other side as demons and villains. That's all it was. January 6th was nothing more than a pretext to demonize your political rivals and their supporters and paint them in a certain light and try to get people to buy into that perception. This is why I focus so much money on edited clips, this show trial. You made a whole documentary on this day. You want us to never forget this day because you want to continually using this day as a means to smear your political rivals. Like I always stated on this channel, Democrats don't do anything based on virtue. Democrats don't do anything based on morals. They do everything based on political motive, political convenience. When their side does perpetrate the violence, 2020, Summer of Love, Chaz, BLM riots, cause more deaths. Like no one died January 6th. You do realize that, right? No cops died January 6th. But there was plenty of cops that got hurt. BLM. There's some cops that died during BLM. Like 3 cops died during BLM riots. But that's 3 times more than January 6th. Oh, the cops did die on Capitol Police. He had a heart attack because of stress. Oh, that was natural causes. That had nothing to do with January 6th or the protesters. Actually, a protester died in January 6th, technically. A January 6th protester died. Are you mourning her death? No. But a couple white boys, sorry, not white boys, that's disrespectful. A couple white men attacked Kyle Rittenhouse during those BLM riots, got shot up. Everyone wanted to cry, oh my God. BLM protest, they were just there protesting the rights of black people and they got shot. It was for a long time, many people thought that Kyle Rittenhouse shot black people. Make it make sense. They'd allowed to do all this crazy stuff to a point where a kid felt like he was in danger of his life, getting hit with skateboards. But you want to pretend that political violence only comes from the right. I'm done lecturing. Let's continue seeing the reaction, and then I'll end off the video.
Scott, in a political sense, is it...
Before she finishes, I love the little banner there that say January 6th insurrection. Because just because you call it insurrection doesn't make it an insurrection. You need something more solid, right? And this is what I'm talking about. Like y'all make false parallels with insurrection. Go look up an actual video of an insurrection. They have weapons. People are actually dying. Not marching into the This is the equivalent of calling January 6th an insurrection is like me getting cut by getting a paper cut and pretending my finger got cut off. This is exactly the kind of false parallels that the mainstream media is trying to make with January 6th, because I already know the motives. You're just trying to paint your political rivals as villains.
How we got here is interesting, and you can see the evolution. You can play all the sound bites from the days after when you heard Republicans blaming Donald Trump, some being short of saying he should be impeached, saying he should be held accountable.
Yeah, that's before we got all the information. That's before we found out that y'all was withholding more evidence. Then when we got more evidence, shout out to Tucker Carlson when Kevin McCarthy released all the rest of the footage on January 6th, and you found out, oh, most of them were peaceful. Only some were attacking police, causing property damage and destruction on the Capitol. Most of them were peaceful. But what was the narrative? They instead of giving you the full context, they was like, oh, this will definitely make all the January 6ers look violent. And then you cascade that on all Trump supporters. Remember when you guys were doing that 2022? To the point that Kevin McCarthy couldn't put anyone on the board for January 6th committee. Liz Cheney only got on there because all Democrats supported her. They didn't want no Republicans in there. Make it make sense. That's why she got the medal, because she did the bidding of the Democrats. And Joe Biden rewarded her for that. I digress. I'm done.
And 4 years later, we are here.
Ridiculous.
It is a stunning political comeback attributed to how Trump played it afterward, how Democrats played it afterward.
How you played it?
Well, I think it's some mixture of everything, but to me, the big message is that in the United States, the people decide. And because of the disastrous 4 years that came after Donald Trump, the people decided to return Donald Trump to power. And that's fundamentally what happened. They looked at what happened on January the 6th. They looked at all the things Democrats claimed about Donald Trump, and they also analyzed every single decision that Joe Biden and Kamala Harris made, and they delivered Donald Trump a convincing victory 4 years later.
It is tough, though, Scott, because when you say the people decide, that's what people tried to make sure didn't happen on January 6th, was allowing the people to decide.
And as you saw leading up to this clip that I'm showing you, he already highlighted that the Democrats always, since 1988, protest the certification of a Republican president. Always, since 1988. They always had something to complain about. So now when it finally happens to them, they want to pretend like that was the first an unprecedented thing that ever happened in our election cycle. And this is the hypocrisy that many people are starting to realize. They're like, yo, you guys do this consistently, but the one time a Republican decides, nah, I don't think I lost the election, I want to challenge it, all hell break loose, and you pretend like this is the first time it ever happened in our history. This is the ridiculousness that I'm talking about. This is why I said we can't reward the Democrats for this BS. They put out this holier-than-thou attitude, and then you find out, yo, you lied just like the other guy. You lied just like you claim the other guy does. Chuck Schumer, Hakeem Jeffries. Nobody on our side denies elections. Okay, go back 8 years. You found Nancy Pelosi contesting George Bush's election. Maxine Waters, both times, 2000 and 2016 when Trump won. Y'all some hypocrites. Hakeem Jeffrey himself was caught talking about how there's an air of illegitimacy over Donald Trump's head. Who said that? Y'all think we dumb. And we got the clips for you. This is why I trust the mainstream media as little as I can throw them. And I can't throw them very far. But I digress.
And the machinery turned. It was a terrible...
The lack of acknowledgement of how bad it was in the aftermath.
I mean, I think a great many people have acknowledged it, but also what happened that day.
The
machinery turned. Mm-hmm. Joe Biden became the president. He had one of the worst terms of any U.S. president, and then the people scrambled back to Donald.
Yeah, who January 6th hurt? Nobody but politicians and people in that little political class. How many percentage of American people trust Congress? Low. Like only 20% of people trust Congress at this point. That was some of the most unpopular times of Congress. No one cared about Congress. So the only one who's physically hurt was Congress. And Congress, they want to make it seem like it was some big deal. Most American people say, okay, cool, it's a riot. When we were getting our businesses destroyed through BLM, Chaz, all these rioters that was going on, taking advantage of BLM, robbing stores in Bayside. This is when I was living in Miami. In Bayside, and Ron DeSantis said, oh, no, y'all not doing this shit here. Y'all, the Congress didn't care. Then when that energy met them at the Capitol, now they want everyone to cry Portocito for them. Hell no. Hell no. No one cares. No one cares about January 6th. It happened 4 years ago. It's not 9/11. It's not the Holocaust. It's not World War II. And this is why they make these false parallels. Because they want you to care about those things, January 6th, the same way you care about chattel slavery, World War II, the Holocaust. And people are like, nah, it wasn't that big of a deal. It was a riot. Just like BLM was a riot. Just like Chaz was a riot. Just like in the 2017 inauguration day of Donald Trump. You guys were protesting, fighting cops, breaking into stores all around the country, Chicago, New York. But y'all want to pretend that it was some unprecedented thing. And I think this is why American people was like, nah, January 6th, politically motivated, show trial, find out they withhold evidence. You guys destroyed your own credibility because you didn't treat this fairly. You didn't approach this balanced. And this is why you got the outcome that you got. And this is why no one cares about January 6th. But I digress. This might be the last time I ever talk about Kamala Harris unless she runs for office again. Who knows? But yeah, that was it. That was it. Kamala Harris made history, became the first woman to certify her own loss. What a day. What a life. What a moment. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. I'll be interested to hear what you guys have to say, your reactions to all this. I'd like to hear your thoughts in the comment section below. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. I appreciate you guys watching to the end of the video, and I'll catch you guys on the next one. Peace.